Welcome to Enlightend Dentistry show. My name is Particia Szymczak, and today I have a pleasure to meet my good friend Annik. Annik is a founder of Speakers Express based in London. Annik, please introduce yourself.
So I basically came here to London 14 years ago. I think you've been here 10, right?
No, more than
Even
10.
more, wow.
I was here first.
There will be a lot of you out there listening. You know, you have left your country, and I found myself then in a new city and in a place where I suddenly was like, damn, I was always loud, but suddenly I was like, actually, I lost part of my confidence. The language was difficult, and I had to kind of start fresh, which was quite scary. And after a couple of years, I had a really good corporate job and I was really happy. And then I quit because I thought, screw you, I want to start my own business. And I totally screwed myself over. I had to take out a loan and credit cards, and it was terrible. And this then, to build my confidence up, I got into speaking because I thought there must be a way that I can be in control of who I am when I sell myself and, negotiate. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. It's such a scary thing, you are this confident person, but suddenly you find yourself in front of 10, maybe even only 5 people, and, heart rate goes up, the hands are sweating, and it was just horrible. And I'm a German control freak. I was like, there must be a way to overcome that. And that's when I started Speaker Express.
Okay, so you decided to talk a lot to give yourself more confidence, basically.
Totally, yes.
So, what sort of problems are you solving with your business? Who are you helping?
So, when we started, we were like a lot of businesses, right? They start and they're like, we want to help everyone. Like, this is how we started. We want everyone to fall in love with public speaking, right? And then over the years, we realized, we're attracting a lot of business owners. And that was really interesting and also really exciting, because when you work with entrepreneurs and business owners, you teach them something and they go and implement, compared to, teaching someone or getting hired by a corporate, and then you deliver some training and then you have people in the audience like, oh, my boss sent me. Okay. I have to do that. So that's really, what we mainly now do. It's business owners and entrepreneurs, people who pitch, who want to raise funding, who want to get on Dragon's Den, who want to speak at conferences, who really want to use speaking to grow their profile and their visibility.
So how do you do that? I'm not asking for the whole prescription of, how do you approach every client, but how do you start? Is it that you're starting on assessing the level of confidence, and then you're implementing techniques that work, or you just get straight onto the elements needed to create a speaking machine?
Well, everyone's different. So some people come to us and they're like, I'm really scared, I hate this, you have to help me because I constantly have to promote my business, I get asked to speak all the time. That's, one type of people who come to us. And the other ones, just looking at you, I'm like, I'm so scared of the dentist. I can't now even understand anymore how people can be scared of speaking. It's really funny. So, but you're nice to me today, right? But the other people who come to us, they love it. They love speaking and they want to have a better structure. They want to have a better keynote talk. They maybe potentially want to land an agent or be signed by a speaker bureau that sells them, and, different strategies, actually, different types of people we get. And what we do is we take people through, we have found since 2011, the 6 important elements of using speaking for your business. And that's number 1, confidence and brand message, to really communicate it in a powerful way, but also have a solid signature talk. Understand how to get booked, where to get started, and then where to actually get those gigs beyond the training room. And then the other element is to sell, but also have a solid pitch, and how to raise your profile, how to get invited to, vlogs like yours and that kind of stuff.
So where do you start? Where do you even start? So the person wakes up in the morning and thinks, okay, now it's the high time for me to be out there. So, or maybe let's start with what's the difference between, is there any difference between training the person who just wants to promote his or her business, or wants to take up a new career path as a professional speaker? Is there any difference in the way that you train these people?
Yes and no. So it depends how serious you are. You know, obviously, if you wake up one morning and you love speaking, you want to do it, you want to get paid for it, you want to do big stages, 5,000 people, 7,000 people. If that's where you want to get to, there's a lot of work to be done. Like, we run 6 month programs, but the implementation time can take, depending where you start, can take 18 months, 24 months. And for example, right, if you just only do small audiences, you have to be confident and your content has to be good and you have to have a solid structure. But if you want to be a speaker in front of 5,000 or 6,000 people, you need to understand stage anchoring, you need to understand audience psychology, you need to understand how what you say actually sticks with them, retention of the material you're delivering. And some people want to be motivational, some people want to be more inspirational. Others are just educators, and some, they're both and entertaining on top of it. So there are loads of different elements, but you're right, like, you need to know where you want to get to. And this is when we start working with people, we always start with goal setting and breaking down, where do you actually want to get to? Right? So for example, I have to be honest, I speak because it's good for the business. My business partner speaks because he loves speaking. I wouldn't call myself a speaker, because ideally, if you give me the choice, Annik, here, £1,000, you can either go on holiday and see the pyramids, or you get on a stage and we fly you to Singapore. Elliot would fly to Singapore and do the speaking gig. I would go on holidays, right? Not saying, like, I still love speaking, but I'm quite an introvert. So you also need to understand and be okay, that speaking can be very depleting. But if you're an extrovert, a lot of the extrovert clients, they're the ones who want to become speakers, where the introverts, not always, but they're often the ones who are like, I want to use it to grow my business. And yeah, these are two ways actually people can take.
So when you have the client who thinks that he or she has a lot of interesting things to say, wants to share, and doesn't know what to do. So let's say that the confidence is there, the will to work hard is there, but then how do I start? Where do I start? How do I acquire those opportunities to speak? Where do I go? Who should I speak to?
Cool.
How are you helping these people?
I'd say, maybe I talk you through how I started, because I feel this is the journey most people then go on.
Please.
When I started, I was bad. I swear to God.
Who said that? It's your opinion or someone told you?
Like, looking where I am now, when I speak, I make people laugh, even though I'm German. We are not meant to have humor. But when I started, I wasn't that good. So I was looking for low, kind of smaller gigs, like at your local chamber of commerce, at your local library. In London, there are a lot of storytelling platforms, like Inspired, there's Sparks, there's Moth. They're all storytelling platforms where you can just go and sell your story. Not sell it, like share your story. You don't have to sell, so there's no business pressure there. And that's really where you start. And if you're any good, every gig will bring you a new opportunity. It will. Someone will come up to you and say, wow, that was great. Could you speak at our business event there and then? Or I remember when I landed one of my first corporate clients, he was like one of the presidents at the Bank of New York. And I did a charity gig. It was a speaking competition. I spoke for 1 minute. I won a bar of organic chocolate or something like that. And like, yay. But I also won my first corporate client. And I didn't expect that. So it's just finding opportunities there everywhere. Once you start looking in that direction. you will start seeing them.
When you say which obviously we aim to improve with whatever we do, but you at some point felt that you're getting better. At which point you got the confidence to describe yourself in front of the mirror that, well, actually, I am good at what I'm doing. How do you measure it?
To be honest, like for me, for some reason, maybe I'm a bit slow on the uptake, it took me 2.5 years. So when I started the business, I would either hide as much as possible behind my business partner because he had like 6,000 hours of experience as a speaker, you know, or when I was speaking, I found it very dreadful until I discovered that it's not about the techniques. It's not about, you know, where to stand on the stage or where to look, but the inner game, like being in control of the crazy voices. I don't know if you have any, like mine would say, why should they listen to you? You're so boring, your accent is stupid. And over time, like I learned certain grounding techniques. There's so many, like most people forget to breathe, you know, like when it comes to speaking. It's the breathing, it's understanding what the negative voices are actually telling you, but also finding ways to make friends with them, you know, because it's not, I think that's probably, the grounding is the most important bit to get any good. And also pushing through. Like I always say to people, you're perfect now, but you will continue to improve forever. So forgive yourself for those few bad gigs or things you have done in the past and just push through it and learn from it. That's very important. And I then had a moment where I stood in front of an audience and it was down at Old Street. And I looked around and there were 50 people there. And for the first time, I was like, I've got this. You know, I've done this for so long. I'm fine, I'm good, you know, and that just took a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. And I think people often underestimate that pain is part of building a business. Sorry, it's painful, but it's true, right?
Also, it's not like, you know, you have a business, you sit at home and the money knocks at the door. Like, hello.
I wish. It's like, come in, I'm waiting for you.
So talking about money now, so how do you monetize the speaking business? Yes, how do you monetize your gigs? You have a lot of interesting things to say. You sometimes just simply want to share that with people. You are not concerned about money. You just want to say that. But then at some point, if you're getting more and more involved, as you said, you're becoming more successful, better, then you might start thinking, well, actually, I can do something about it and I can monetize it. How?
Totally. So this is for people who run a business, right? The first thing you do is whenever someone asks you to speak, you just say, hey, can I share at the end about what we do? You know, you would deliver some really good content, but at the end you could say things like, look, like one of our clients, he has just done this. He spoke and at the end he said, look, next Tuesday I will be here at the venue and I have a time for 9 sessions with people. You know, we're going to sit down for an hour and we do some discovery sessions or strategy sessions to look deep into your business. And from there, then you get people signing up. And then eventually, you know, a number of them will convert into clients. That's kind of an indirect way. Sometimes when I speak, I sell tickets to our one-day trainings. That's another way. Or what another good option is, it depends. Like, I feel those 2 ways are the easy way in. I know when I started, I would be okay with speaking, but then the selling bit would be like, oh my God, I'm selling. I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to be pushy. And that was really like scary. But if you don't sell nuclear weapons, right, like you're doing people a favor by telling them how they can work with you. And that's really, you raise your profile by being on stage and then it converts into opportunities at the back end.
So say that those events that your daily life, how does it look in terms of coming to work and how does it look? So every day you have training sessions with number of people, or is it monthly? Is it the same group of people? Is it industry orientated? For example, on Friday you have people from a medical industry. On whatever Wednesday next week you have people from property industry. Is that how it works, or it doesn't really matter because the techniques and everything, it's all the same-ish?
if you have a business and you want to use speaking as a way to grow your business, we take people through the same 6 steps, you know, as I mentioned before, the confidence, the brand message, signature talk, getting booked, all like the entire shebang. And we, like the 6 months program, we take people through. It doesn't matter. We have people in digital marketing. We have people who are physiotherapists. At the end of the day, you improve the quality of your speaking and how you communicate it, right? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? And we actually found you get so much more insights, you know, getting feedback from someone who might be a dentist to you who is a property developer, you know, and that's powerful. Because when you're in an audience, very often I would always have a mixed audience, like with loads of mixed, you know, people. Like I've never spoken at like a dentist conference where everyone would be a dentist, but it's also about learning that the material you have will land with the right audience. You know, that's why it's always so important to have a really good chat with the event organizer before you speak, so you know who's in the room, so you can tailor your material and your stories to them.
And it's going to be probably a naive question, but what is the signature speech? So are you repeating yourself wherever you go with a little tweak, or is it more about personality that you're putting into your speech, or is it the topic that's what you always talk about? How do you build it?
So start with, number 1, understanding who are the people who buy from you. You know, who's your target audience, and all your material you target towards them, because they are the one who ideally then after your talk will buy from you or come up and say, hey, can we have a conversation? Can I have your card? That's number 1. We always take people through a 7-step structure, and you know, the first few are to have a really powerful opening, to address the problem you're solving, to go into the solution, but also talk about your credibility. And then you have different elements of your content. You know, you would share, like, I don't know, like as a dentist, oh my God, I'm getting scared just thinking about dentists. But you can say like the 3 secrets about not worrying about your next visit to the dentist. And then you give them a lot of tips and tricks they can do at home to keep their teeth healthy, right? For longer. And so basically your signature talk is something you can deliver over and over again, giving you consistent results in sales. So I have 3. I do falling in love with public speaking, how to use speaking to grow your business, and how to sell without being pushy. You know, and whenever people hire me, obviously, ideally, normally a signature talk is about 45 minutes long, but you can have different versions. You can have a 20-minute version, you can have a 30-minute version, depending on the time you will have on stage.
So now, when you think about your business, your observations, what do you is there any problem in generally that you can see across all industries, many industries, that people who want to get involved in speaking are baffled with? You know, is there something that you start with? So is it that it's a confidence that you usually see that people lack, or is it just confidence is there, but the skill, they just don't know where to start? How does it work?
You know what I've found? There are a number of different elements, but very often people would think, oh, I'm fine, I can do it. And they don't prepare properly. They don't ask the organizer the right questions about who's actually in the audience, and they kind of just wing it. You know, sometimes they have prepared and they have their slides, but I have seen the most amazing business people, but then they're on stage and they don't understand how they actually really engage the audience, you know, how they psychologically tap into their world and make those 45 minutes really count. That the audience walks out of the room afterwards thinking, wow, this guy or this woman was amazing, you know, and they will remember you, pass you on, and, you know, like talk about you. That's how you raise your profile. And I feel this can sometimes be the mistake people make. You know, and I agree, like there are loads of really good people, but just a few tweaks on how to sell better, how to tell stories in a more powerful way makes all the difference. It really does.
So thinking about, say, let's fast forward 10 years. So say in 10 years, how would you like things to look like in your business? Where would you like to take your business to? Are you thinking about changing the profile of patients? I want to say your clients, or are you thinking about scaling up, or how would you like it to look?
Honestly, ideally, I just love to reach more people who have businesses that make an impact or difference in the world, right? I don't want to work with people who sell nuclear weapons. That's like, they can go wherever and rot in hell, right? But people who want to use their voice for good. And right now we're only based in London. Like, I'm moving to Australia at the end of the year. My husband, he's homesick. So we're going to Australia, and, you know, maybe we start Speak Express over there.
You're moving
Yeah.
For good to Australia?
Well, let's see.
Okay, I understand.
So, you know, he has been here for 10 years, and he's like, now let's go back home and see what's happening there.
Okay,
but he's a really busy entrepreneur as well,
yes.
so I'm hoping he will get bored because Sydney is so much smaller. I don't know.
But so, okay, so at this very moment I understand it's a bit of an open book, yes? So
Yeah.
you might, bearing in mind that you have plans to move out from Europe, you might continue your business, or you might just...
I think so. I just love it. I can't imagine to, you know, sometimes people ask you, oh, what's your vision? Do you want to exit in a number of years? It's like, no, I've built this up. You know, we have such an amazing community of people who, you know, speakers who support each other. Like, I like it, I want to keep it. Mm-hmm. So for us, really, it's about growing and reaching more people to really help them to impact the world with speaking. You know, so they never wake up like I used to thinking, oh my God, I'm so scared. I hope I don't make a fool of myself. But more about, hey, I have a talk. I have an opportunity to impact people with what we do and change their lives.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a lot of people? There are two categories I'm thinking of. One category, people who don't have much to say, but they so want to be influencers. And you ask who you want to influence, what do you have to say, and they don't know, but they just want to be out there. They want you to create them. Or do you have this kind of group of people approaching you, or do you have a kind of people who say, okay, I know how it works. I know what I'm doing. I'm here just for you to tell me where can I go to spread the words that I have to say. Is it difficult to work with people who say that they know everything and they just want you only as a middleman to pass the business cards to someone else?
You know what, like a lot of people, when they start learning something new, they realize how much more there is. You know, I never considered like speaker modeling, stage anchoring, like, you know, different ways of breaking down a talk in a certain psychology. I never thought of this, you know. I was like, oh, I can speak. What's there to learn? But there's so much more. But what we have also found is sometimes it makes only maybe 5% of the people who come to us is like, I really love speaking. I don't have a business yet. But while they go through the training and they constantly have to speak and come up with content, they suddenly then find their way, which is fascinating. I started talking about recycling. You know, it's an important topic, but I had nothing to talk about. But with that, I found, wow, you know, I want to actually get into speaker training. So that's how it works.
So if there is a person, him or her, who approach you and they say, teach me, I want to speak, I feel so where do you start? So how does the process look like? So this person approached you and you say, okay, come on Wednesday, and we start with what?
So we always start with understanding where you want to get to. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a dream, even if it's not exactly refined, but like a lot of people would say, I want to do a TEDx talk, or I want to get away from one-to-one coaching and do bigger audiences and, you know, start running workshops. Or people say, like, one day I want to speak in one of the biggest tech conferences. So have a certain goal we can work towards, and then we just break it down. What has to happen in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, in the next 12 months to get you there? And then whenever the first training session happens, like even the most confident people, they're like, I wasn't aware of that, and this is how you build your action steps of whatever is lacking, perceived, in your business performance, to integrate speaking into it. It's just breaking it down. And then the more you go through the training, you just have so many moments where you go like, now I know, now I not only want to speak in front of this big tech conference, but I also want to be, invited by the government to consult them on XYZ, right? So it feels the more your confidence grows, the more your dreams shift and your ambitions grow, because you suddenly trust yourself to do bigger things.
So is it easier to work with people who really have no idea, but they just want to enter this, say, industry? Or is it easier to work with people who have already some experience and you just, it's the wrong choice of words, you just help them to find different platforms that they can, talk to different industries?
We have seen the best results we get with people who have been in business for a number of years, who have a certain profile already, they have a lot of expertise in what they do. And then when they integrate speaking, then suddenly they find themselves in front of bigger audiences, right? So there's this one woman, and I just wondered, it's like, what is she doing differently to everyone else? Within 3 months, she got 2 paid gigs, and it's like, what is that? And she's like, look, Annik, this is who I am, this is what I do. If people see me and they look me up online, they can see I have the expertise, I've done this for a number of years, and they go, wow. So she just stepped it up a bit, raising her profile through speaking, and because she had the expertise, that's the fastest way. So if you start from scratch, it will take longer than 12 months to really establish yourself. But, for some people who have some impact already in the industry, they can just blow it up in a couple of months.
Well, that's good to know, because if I was to consider, I know where to go and I know roughly how long it might possibly take me. Very, very helpful. I personally didn't realize that it's just so many aspects to it. I probably, in this very naive way, I also thought that, okay, I have something interesting to say. I probably need, of course, some coaching, but I didn't realize that it's just, it's so much to it. So it feels a bit intimidating, but having people who can lead you through it helps a lot. Annik, I just wanted to thank you very much for visiting me today to have our little chat, and I wish you all the success. Doesn't really matter if you would decide to stay in England or to move to Australia, and I hope you will help loads of people to be there out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.